Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Not So Fresh Off the Boat. On today's episode, we'll be talking with my older brother, who will be sharing his experience of coming to the United States at a much older age than I did. We are also joined by his wife, and together they'll be telling us about the challenges they faced navigating the grueling process of obtaining U.S. citizenship after being undocumented. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the show.
And we're back to Not So Fresh Off the Boat. Today, we've got a very special guest with us. Last week, we had the long arm of the law. Cecilia Forberg came on and talked a little bit about asylum. If that's something you're interested in, please go check that out. Otherwise, stick around. We have a good episode. All right. Today with us, we have someone very close to me, a huge inspiration to me, and someone I've always looked up to, Tracy Garcia. And with her is my brother, Edwin Garcia. Great man. The only fight he's ever lost has been against male pattern baldness. And for that, I commend him. I'm sorry. So if you have been listening since episode 1, you know a little bit about my story. My brother has a similar story that I've invited him to share with us today, except his takes place a couple of years, when he was older than I would have been. So I was only about 6. How old were you when you first came to the U.S., Edwin?
I was 19. I was 18. Just turned 18. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after my birthday, I hit the road. Yeah. I was probably on my first year in college down in Mexico City. I wanted to have a car so that I could drive to college and get all the girls. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the U.S. I'm gonna work for 6 months. I'm gonna save some money. I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna go back to school. That never happened. I stuck around for a little bit longer here. So
What kind of car did you want?
I actually wanted to buy it was made by Nissan. The turbo Nissan, it was pretty similar to the, what do they have here? It was kind of like the square Hondas that they used to have here, like the 80s, 84 models, but it used to be a Nissan turbo. I forget the name of the model, but it was just a sedan 4-door. Okay. Nothing super special. I just wanted something to get me back and forth from the house to school.
Well, because you used to commute quite a long way, like your whole life, right? Like
yeah. So ever since I started high school, my high school was about an hour and a half commute from the house. So I used to spend about 3 hours on the road just to get to school and back. So I had to take bus, subway, minibus. I used to have to take three different transportation just to get to high school, and then on my way back the same thing.
And this is
insane. So
as early as 14, right?
Yeah. So
14,
I started pretty much to commute on my own since I was on 6th grade. So that would be probably 12 years old. I was pretty much independent by the time I was 12. I was going to school by myself. I was already working when I was 12. I did, car wash. I did all kinds of side work, just like a home improvement type of work. If somebody wanted to help, moving pea gravel from one side to the other side of the property, I was helping moving that thing with a wheelbarrow and buckets, whatever we had. So
no child labor laws.
No child labor, not at all, man.
And
Yeah.
did you? I mean, was it did like mom tell you had to get a job, or you were just like, I want money?
No, so I think growing up in Mexico City, it's kind of like it's something that you look forward to. You want to be independent. You want to be able to, make your own money, buy your own things. And a big part of that is because so we were really, really poor. I mean, we didn't have, we had money to just get us by. We didn't have money for anything extra. You know what I mean? So we had to uh, go that extra mile just to get a little bit extra to to buy things that we wanted, that we didn't need it, but some of those ones that we usually get. So that's kind of why I started working very, very young. Like if I wanted to buy something, I'll work for it. I'll save some money and buy it. Um, and it's just kind of I think it helped me. Uh, I mean, all through my life, it just kind of worked. It kind of built a very solid work ethic for me. Like I've been, I've been working 2, 3 jobs before college, during college. So it's kind of, in a way, I don't regret doing those kind of work when I was that young, because it just taught me a lot about what it takes to work and to make money and things like that. Be responsible for the most part. So
Interesting. So, do you think child labor laws are stupid? We should get rid of
I
them.
do think so. So because the way I see it nowadays is kids nowadays are very, very entitled to like they think they deserve or they have to have everything, and then most parents made the mistake of like, yeah, let's just buy it, or let's just get it from. We don't make them work anymore for it, even if it's not just I'm not talking about construction work. I mean anything, anything. Just wash my car, or pick up leaves, or I mean anything. We don't do that anymore. So I think that we're not that character that each of us builds at that age. It's I think it's gone. I think kids nowadays, they just don't have it.
I mean, so we're getting a little off topic here, but I guess I'm curious. With the friends and people you keep up with that are still living in Mexico, do they notice the same trend in the younger generation, or do you think that's strictly like an American-based thing?
No, I think it's showing everywhere. I think the kids there are starting to show the same trend. It's just a little bit delay. It takes a little bit to get down there, but yeah, we're now seeing it everywhere. Yeah, definitely a
Interesting.
trend.
Um, Chris, anything you'd like to ask?
Not right now. No.
Okay. Just want to make sure you're included.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, so but coming back to you were 18 when you came here. Did you go right into college, or did you go back to high school? 'Cause I remember you were in high school.
So yeah, so that was kind of a waste of time, because I was already in college when I was in Mexico. I did my whole freshman year in college down there. But when I came over here, um, obviously I needed to learn English. That was one thing. And people would be like, well, you should just go to high school and then do 1 year and you're gonna be good. You're gonna learn English. But what I didn't really, since I didn't know anything about this country, about anything, really, I should have just went straight to a like full-time English classes, for adults kind of thing, instead
Yeah.
of going back 2 years, because I was taking the classes and I was pretty much, I felt like I was back in, I don't know, like 11th grade or 10th grade, because the school, the level is, it's very laid back here.
Yeah.
The high schools are completely different. So I kind of went back 4 years on what I was learning. Um, so then I only lasted about 4 months. And I talked to, I don't know if you remember Mr. Eid from high school, Adams High School. I told him my story, and he said, "Well, you should definitely go to like an adult program just to learn English." So that's when I transferred to Hamilton, for adults, ESL, English as a second language for adults, which was after work. It was just like 2 hours every day, and that's how I ended up basically learning English. And then at that school, I met this lady. Her name is Joyce Juarez. She actually helped me get into Ivy Tech. That's when I started college. I went to Ivy Tech for a couple years. I got an associate's, and then after that, then I just went to IU, got my bachelor's. So that's it. Kind of worked my way to back into the actual 4-year college university.
Would you say that the language barrier was the biggest challenge, or was it like other things?
It was the language, basically I mean, there was a lot of challenges. It was the language. It was the fact that I couldn't get a job where I could make a lot of money. I got paid the minimum wage in some of those jobs. Another thing was I couldn't get a place to live, like an apartment, because back then you had to have a social security number. You had to be a citizen to get a contract, credit check. So that was very, very challenging. And then on top of that, the language barrier. So there was a lot of things that times I really, really got frustrated at times. And a lot of times I just wanted to go back. I was like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Because I tried so hard for so many years, and I was like, I already wasted 3-4 years. Now, if I go back, then I'm not going to be able to go back to the school that I was in, because I only had like a 12-month grace where I could go back. Otherwise, I had to apply again, and it's a whole big process. So, but I mean, just things just starting to fall into place after a while.
So what so how you considered going back often, but what kept you here?
Well, I mean,
At what point? Before me or after me?
I mean, I just kind of I mean, I met Tracy. I met her. I think I was 20, right?
20.
So she helped me a lot to get through all those, blockers and stoppers that we faced. And pretty much since I met her, everything has been together. I mean, she's helped me a lot with paperwork. She's researched everything about immigration, how we can get a work permit, how we can, get the papers going, how we can get into the university, all those things. Basically, I rely on her because she's really good at finding things out. And I get really frustrated, and I can't really, sometimes I just like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm done. And I think she was one of the biggest motivations to just kind of keep going. Yeah.
That's cute. No, that's great. See, wow, 20. So that was so long ago.
Yeah.
You're on this down page. This could be like an immigrant rom-com we could write.
Yeah, no, this sounds very good. Every time you're about to, you just like, man, I gotta get out of here. She's like, no, you're not that easy.
Basically, yeah.
Man, so 20 years old, you guys meet. Where did you meet?
Fridays. We work Fridays together.
Classic.
Yeah.
You can't write this. You can't write this kind of stuff. It's beautiful.
Dude.
So when you talk about language barrier, this is how we met. It's because the kitchen spoke Spanish, and then I was a server, so I spoke English. There was always a person in the middle, the person that touched the plate last. You were, what were you called? Expo. They put like the green onions on your sour cream and pull your ticket. Well, he spoke a little bit of English, just enough to communicate with me, but I couldn't communicate with the kitchen. So he was my middle person. So because we spoke all the time, then he started to like me, and then I would get all the things I needed from the kitchen. because in the kitchen like me. So this is like kind of how we sparked our relationship with, he wouldn't talk to every girl that just came in. They got frustrated because he couldn't speak English, but I dealt with it and I worked with it. So I was like, all right.
Man, that's a good card to pull. Next time, if I ever work at a restaurant again, I'll pretend not to know Spanish or English. So moving
I hope
on.
you don't go back to a restaurant, dude.
No, never. I never want to do that again. It's not for me. I think the main difference between us as brothers is that I despise working hard. I'll do it, but I don't like it, and I'll do anything to avoid working hard. So I'm
That's
definitely not.
here.
Or that younger generation.
No, because I was the same way. I was like, oh, like, because as early as I could legally get a job here, although it was still illegal in a sense, I wanted to get a job and I wanted to have money in my account and I wanted to use it for things. I didn't want to rely on mom and dad for anything. But they also would always just treat me like a child no matter what I did. So that's nothing I could do about that.
I'd be speaking in past tense.
I am still very much, yeah.
He's still my little brother.
Yeah, I'm still the child. I can't help it. I don't know. I'm the favorite. That's obvious. So I guess, yeah. So from your perspective, what were like the biggest differences between our experiences? Like what, as far as age goes?
I think the biggest, biggest difference, I think, is just the, I want to say down there is a lot more, more freedom. Like there's a lot more. You are responsible for a lot of more things at a younger age than what you experience here. But I think, everything else, I think we went through the same thing. And you didn't struggle with the language barrier, but I think at some point, I'm imagining, like at some point in this 20 years that I've been here, sometimes I still feel like I'm out of place. Like, do I really belong here?
Hold that thought.
Mom's bringing.
Gracias, ma. Yep.
Yeah.
What I was talking about, the little kid.
I didn't ask for this, but I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Oh, arroz con leche. Heck yeah. We'll dig into that in a minute. I'm sorry.
I think I'll interject because he's stumbling on his words. I think the biggest difference you guys faced was that your prime teenage years, when you learn like responsibility and consequences and all of that kind of stuff, your time was spent here versus his was spent there, where he had more freedom to learn by his mistakes. He could do a lot more things wrong and learn from those and move on. But here it was kind of, we're different here. In the US, it's kind of more like it's kind of, your way is paved for you in a way. Like, oh, you won't mess up too much. We'll always catch you and save you. Like,
oh yeah,
rules and laws.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's your prime time from like when you're a teenager, like maybe 12 to 18. That's when you're learning like responsibility and how you're going to get on with life and be an adult. You guys spent that prime time in separate countries.
And yeah, over here
that's a huge difference. Yeah, like over here, I feel like kids, they know more than like the kids right here are not as susceptible to do bad things, to get in trouble, because I don't know, somehow the law here is a lot more strict. So people are actually afraid. Like, I'm not gonna do this because I'm gonna go to jail, or I'm gonna get arrested, or we can't do this because whatever. But down there, it's like there's not really. We don't have a law, so it's like you just do something, you get in trouble, but you get a slap in the hand, and that's it. It's kind of dangerous in a way,
But you learned from
you learn if you make it out. Yeah. I know a lot of people didn't make it out, but yeah, I was one of the lucky ones to get out on time. So
Yeah, I never had the energy to like do anything bad. I didn't really. I never felt compelled to break the law because I just didn't really want to leave my room.
Because you
Um,
have everything. You know, you're being fed and clothed and everything. You can get a job and do what you need over there. You had to figure it out, right? Yeah.
I know. I always look for. I always had this adrenaline rush on me that I was always looking for some adrenaline. So
do you want to go? Do you want to dive into that?
yeah, no, sure.
What kind of adrenaline were you looking for in Mexico?
It's just I used to love to go out. I mean, I had a lot of friends. We grew up together. I mean, we live in the same house, since we were kids. So I lived in the same house for 18 years. So I grew up with the same people, same kids, and we made this huge bond. I mean, we were inseparable. I mean, we went everywhere together, and it was like Thursday we were looking for something to do. Like where are we going? We used to look at lights around the neighborhood, see who had a party so that we could go to. Fridays, where are we going? Like discos or
Because you could stand and like you could see like, oh, like it looks like there's something happening over there.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
let's just go hang out around over there. Like
Yeah, so where we lived, so there's a lot of hills and mountains and things, so you can see really far away. Uh, and usually when somebody has like a nice baptize or communion or quinceañera or wedding, you see the lights going. So there's food, drinks, and music. So it's like you just like see where it is and head over there. And it's not like you need a ticket to get into any of those parties. It's just like whoever comes in, have a seat, here's some food, here drinks and everything. So and we used to do that a lot. We used to just go to different states, go to different cities, different neighborhoods. We were just always looking for something to do, and we were always broke. So we walked a lot to get to places. Yeah, so it was quite something. Different types of parties we went to, like punk, hard rock, all kinds of concerts. There was always fights, people fighting. There was always blood going everywhere. But we were there in the middle. So
yeah, I
it
mean
was fun.
that's a similar. I mean that's similar to. I mean there's some parallels to. I don't know how kids do it now, but for us it was like you pull out the flip phone. And I didn't have a phone. I was like the last one to get a phone, but someone would have a phone and they'd get a text and it'd be like party at this address. And then someone usually had a car because it's like different over here. Cause if I don't think that we could have walked anywhere living in like where we do in Indiana. Like if we're like on the west side and there's a party on the north side, that's like 6-hour walk. Like we're not like, are you talking that distance, that dedication to?
So honestly, I don't remember how far we used to walk, but I bet we probably did a couple hours sometimes
No way.
to get to places.
How far would you walk for a party, Chris?
I was a loser back then, so I didn't go to any. But yeah,
I didn't go to parties.
drove to my two friends' houses. There you go. That's
Yeah, just
Took
from
like
one friend
5
to
minutes.
another.
Yeah, so it was. I remember it used to be. It was about 6 of us that would go everywhere every weekend, and only one of us had a full-time job. Everyone else worked like little side jobs, I work on a car wash like Saturday and Sunday or something like that. So I didn't have a lot of money, just had a little bit. Um, but only one guy used to work full time. He didn't go to school or anything. He just worked, and he would be the one paying for the food, like at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, on the way back to the neighborhood, because there's always food everywhere. 4 in the morning, you still find tacos in some corner.
Yeah.
So that was. I do miss that, going to eat at 4 o'clock in the morning somewhere. That's good.
That's a good memory. I mean, that's how it is in LA. You leave a bar, there's like 100% chance of a food vendor being posted up like right outside the door,
Nice.
like just strategically. Man, remember when we could do things and go outside? What a crazy time.
It was like a year ago. Jeez.
Oh man. Well, a couple weeks ago, I gave you guys a call and asked you a little bit about the immigration process. And like I said earlier, last week we actually had a friend of mine who's a paralegal at like a law firm, and they help like asylum seekers, and they deal with that. So could you maybe like talk a little bit about your experience with the immigration process? Because you beat the system, you're on the other side, you came out victorious. You're a U.S. citizen, right?
Yeah.
Fucking bastard. You lucky piece of shit.
Not through asylum either, though.
Not through asylum, right? Yeah. So yeah, if you want to.
It started from the illegal standpoint.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's more familiar with that. I was kind of more of like sign here. She did all the. She did all the research. She contacted the lawyer. She printed out the forms. She filled out the forms. She gathered all the requirements or prerequisite, whatever you needed.
So Tracy, do you want to talk about that, Tracy?
Yeah. Well, so like I think the hardest thing was that we did it. Well, it would have been how long ago? Over 10 years ago. So it was after 9/11 had happened. Definitely. So before 9/11, it used to be the common saying that people would say, you just marry a U.S. citizen and you can get your citizenship. Like it was that easy. But we're after 9/11, so now everything is scrutinized and looked at closer as far as immigration and stuff from every country, every standpoint. So we couldn't just do that. It wasn't just like he married me, he gets to be legal. So there was a lot more to it, and I just started, reading and researching and just trying to going on the immigration websites and what do we need to do, and just kind of got it started. And I literally had an old electric typewriter. So this is before PDF fillable documents online. So it was either you're going to hand fill these in or you're going to type them. So we print out the documents and I put them through my typewriter and I typed them all up. Because we didn't have the money to pay a lawyer to do it. Because it's like, you go spend an hour with a lawyer to fill out your paperwork. That's what, $200 an hour or something? I don't know. We didn't even, we just couldn't do it. So just one document at a time, I would type it up. I made it as official looking as I could, and we would send the money in and wait and see what happened. And then on to the next step. So, I mean, it's a long process, but the easiest way to tell people is we say it was 5 years and over $5,000 to just try to get things going to the next point. That was just to get us to your green card and as a permanent resident. That wasn't even to citizenship. Then he had to hold permanent residency for so long before he could become a citizen.
3 years, I think.
So, and during all this time, he still wasn't. He didn't get to do like you have with the DACA. He didn't get to get a social security number to have a job or anything this whole time. So we're still fighting all those obstacles of can't get like a really decent job. We still couldn't get a house because we had no credit and no background. Like he's working 2-3 jobs and whatever job will take him. But, made it, got to the other side eventually. I don't know how. I mean, we have lots of friends that have gone through the process the same time as us. Some people have started around the same time and they still haven't finished. Some of them have went through lawyers, can't afford it. They stop. And I don't know. We don't have any other friends that have finished it, do we?
No.
You have plenty of friends that have started it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do we know? 3 or 4?
4 from.
Well, we know one. We know one that she finished.
Cool.
Areli, right?
Oh.
They finished, right?
Yeah.
Because she went over and got her papers.
Yeah. She actually reached out to us a few times to get tips and.
Yeah, we kind of helped her with some of her paperwork or sent her to. I think we sent her to our lawyer that we used for the last step. So, yeah,
So you're saying you had 3 or 4 friends that still haven't like either that have like a pending case or just like stopped because they couldn't afford it.
So
that started at the same time as you. So what's the timeline on that? When did you start it? Like 2007?
no, we started around 2004.
Oh shit.
that would be Alex was already born.
Yeah, just Alex. So it was about 2004, 2005 when we started.
Well, I know when we went to Mexico, Rachel was 16 months old. So Rachel was just over a year old when we went to Mexico to do the paperwork.
So, but that was already.
That was already 5 years later.
4 years later. Yeah.
If she was a year old, 2006, 2007. So about 2002.
Yeah. So Alex was about a year old, give or take.
We started before Alex. We started either 2002 or 2003. And Alex was born in 2004. So we'd already been married a year or so.
You started 2002. Initial application, probably just like a consideration for like some BS form like that that's just like applying for them to consider you. So that's 2002 going all the way into what
about
year?
5 years. That puts us about 2007. Rachel was a year old.
Yeah.
So about
that's
5
just
years
for green card, right? Permanent
to get
residency.
To get us to Mexico and do the interview and everything.
How was that like for someone? So for someone that doesn't know anything about the immigration process, like you have to go back for a certain amount of time, right? Before that.
Yeah. So
basically like we'll give you this nice little shiny green card, but you got to go back to where you came from for a little bit, and we have the right to refuse.
So there's a catch. Yeah. So there's a catch because the way he came over was illegally, crossed the border illegally. Like it's the joke. Did you hide in a car or walk through the woods?
I walked through the woods for 3 days and
like
3
literally,
nights.
Not just saying this is a movie script. He
Didn't
literally
Moses do that, or who did that? One of the Bible guys did that, right?
Yeah. 3 nights, 3 days through the woods.
Yeah. So because he came that way with no permissions and no paperwork, nothing, it was illegal. That's considered a felony. And for that felony, it's a 10-year bar. Like you're barred from being in the U.S. for 10 years. So if he said he wanted to go back and see you guys, go back and see his family, if he'd try to come back through the border, they'd be like, oh no, you can't come here for 10 years. So we basically had to fight that, like get forgiveness for that felony.
That's where the waiver,
But in order to, we had to take a waiver and say, please basically forgive him and let him be here with us because we need him as a family to support us. You know, we're married, we have kids. There's a reason for him to be here. Like, don't take him away and put him back in Mexico. But
hardship letter.
A hardship letter.
Extreme hardship is what you, and that's one of the most, for people that don't know, that's like one of the most rare conditions to be accepted under.
So a lot of the people that we know that they stopped doing the paperwork is because of that. Like they got to the point where they told them like, well, you need to go outside the country to complete their paperwork, and they just like, nah, I'm not going back.
They're too scared to leave the country
because they don't know if they're gonna come back quick or is it gonna be 1 month, 2 months, 10 years, and they don't want to risk it. So
yeah, because for you guys it happened a couple of weeks, right? Months?
Well, we didn't know. So the only way you can apply for the hardship is he has to go back to the Mexico consulate. We couldn't do it at the U.S. consulate. If he had come across with like a visa that expired or something like that, certain cases can be seen in like Chicago at the consulate or something like that. But because it was totally illegal, he has to go back to Mexico at some point. So then when we get in Mexico with the hardship and we go to the consulate there, we're basically relying on somebody to approve our paperwork to let him come home. So we knew going into it that there was a chance that he could get a 10-year bar. Like we didn't know. When we left together to go to Mexico, and we agreed if it was more than 2 years that he had to stay there, then me and the kids would move there with him and stay with him.
That's crazy. I cannot imagine Alex and the rest of the gang growing up in Mexico.
You know, that's just, we didn't know. I mean,
But
we
you
had
were
to make a
prepared for that.
decision. Yeah, we were. I mean, we had a life here, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to basically beg the system to let us keep our lives here. Why is our life here more important than, why can't the 4 of us go live in Mexico? Because there's 4 of us at the time. Why couldn't we just have a life in Mexico?
Yeah. So at that point, I already had my associates from Ivy Tech. So the plan was, if I was going to be there for 10 years, the plan was that I was going to be able to at least work on something that was going to be, I was going to get paid a little better down there, with an associate's degree. So that was the plan. So we going in, we knew it's like, all right, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We either end up being down in Mexico for good, or I come back in 2-3 months. So it worked out.
I did have a cousin that went through it too, and she was home quick. So we had the hopes of maybe we'll get lucky too and come home quick. There was no parameters to be like, if A, B, and C go together, you'll be home in 6 months. Or if A and B happen, you'll be home in a year. There were no parameters.
Right.
We
So
thought
just case by case. It just depends.
Total luck of the draw, basically, is how it felt. Like, it could be a week, it could be years.
Yeah. And one thing that we were really nervous about it is, like, for example, her cousin. So she's married, obviously. Her husband makes a lot of money. So he can, when she applied, she already had his income, because you have to have somebody that is going to be kind of your sponsor, in a way, saying, okay, this guy makes enough money to support me in case I don't find a job quick, so that you don't get like government assistance in any way. So that's what they are trying to, like, okay, we're gonna have you here, but we can't give you assistance, we can't give you money. The government is saying that. So then that was one of our problems too. Like, we didn't have the income within us, so we had to go outside and find somebody. Like her stepdad did that for us. Like, he signed, okay, I can sponsor them in case he doesn't find a job if he comes back or whatever.
Because I couldn't. Like, I didn't have enough income to support a family of 4. My income could have never held us. So we had to have a co-signer. Someone who could support us if he couldn't find a job and I couldn't find a job to support us. So.
And what is it, like so many months, right? Like, we can.
It was for like so many years that after his citizenship.
Basically, they signed a contract saying, like, okay, if you lose your job within the next 2 years, I have to give you, income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's kind of like to, like, I guess, like, protect social programs in a way.
Exactly, that's what it is. Yeah.
So that we don't turn around and go for food stamps and Social Security, like whatever all the benefits are that you can get. They didn't want us to turn around and live off that. Like, hey, here's your citizenship, but then you're going to go live off the government. Like, They didn't want that. So we had to prove that we wouldn't do that.
Yeah, those are like the things. Yeah, kind of the purpose of this podcast is not only like to talk about like culture and stuff, but to uncover things like that, like misconceptions that people have. Because, I mean, one thing you always hear is like immigrants are leeching off social services and like all these programs and taking money from, the patriots, the
citizens,
the enemies, really aka you, bro.
You really can't get assistance like that. So and yeah, a lot of people don't know. Like, they think like, oh, he's not working, he's getting a check, from the government, but you can't, because before you do the program, somebody else is signing a contract saying, like, if he doesn't have a job, I'm paying for it. He's not eligible to get, food stamps or whatever, whatever assistance. And even for us, when we didn't have Social Security number, you can't really get anything. You need your Social Security for everything. Like, okay, you want assistance for this? What's your number? I don't have one, so you can't. You know.
That's what I mean. That's what you hear all the time. They're like, "You damn illegals taking a job," and then you try to apply, and they're like, "Oh, we need your social," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
I'll just go."
I was gonna say, go back to you said. So how long were we over there? We say we got lucky that the person that stamped our paperwork that day was having a good day and liked us for some reason and stamped approved, and we knew he'd be coming home, and they said it'd take a few weeks for paperwork to go through, and once they heard, they'd let us know. So he was home in 30 days, less than a month, because I went home. I still had to go home without him, still not knowing, like, we hadn't been approved. When I went home, we hadn't been approved yet. We didn't know how long when I left him in Mexico City.
What was going on through your head? Like, what were your?
No idea, because I mean, I said goodbye to him at the airport in Mexico, not knowing the next time I'll see him. I mean, the next time I'd see him, if he got to stay there, would be me and the kids moving there, because I couldn't afford to just go to Mexico and see him. If he had to be there a year, I wouldn't be able to go visit him. I mean, we just live a year apart. But so we said our goodbyes, and then it was like maybe 3.5 weeks later that he got to come home. So.
And Edwin, your time there, what was that like? So what was that, 2007? So you'd been in the U.S. for like 7 years at that point. You're going back. What's running through your head? You're seeing it, like people you've like haven't seen in a while. How are you interacting? Like what stories are you telling them? Like what
Did you go far or did you stay home?
No, I had a good time. It was good. In a way I missed, the city. I was in a way kind of like, man, I'm home, kind of like I'm back, I'm home. But I didn't go visit everyone in our family. So I just kind of picked a few. I mean, our family, it's probably 200 now, maybe more. So I only went to see
150.
about a half of them. No, so I went to see, grandma for sure, which was the best thing I ever did. Because shortly after that she passed. She passed like a month later. So I think that was the best thing, seeing grandma, and then just kind of see our uncles again. A few of them. It was just seeing the family in a different way. Just like I'm here visiting. Everybody was nice, and I wanted to stay a little bit longer, but I also missed the family here. So, but yeah, I don't know. It was different. There was a lot of emotion being down there.
Was there any negative feelings towards you? Like, was there anybody that was like,
no,
did you ever feel out of place?
No, actually, no. I mean, everybody was pretty, welcoming, like warm, and I tried to avoid certain places where I knew I wasn't going to be welcome. So, but for the most part, everybody was pretty nice. Yeah.
And the places you wouldn't be welcome, was that like certain family members or?
Yeah, like certain family members that we just kind of just cut ties with them.
Yeah.
Like the old neighborhood we live in. I didn't go there. Just a few places that if we were still there, I'm pretty sure we probably wouldn't even talk to those people. So but for the most part, like I just went to see like the family that we were always pretty close to. So it was good.
Okay. And so earlier you said there's so after all the time you've been here, there's still times you feel a little out of place. You want to elaborate on that or?
Yeah, so it's so even though I've been here I don't know what, 20? I don't even know how. I've been here forever, right?
20 years.
But I still feel sometimes that I mean it's not really my home. You know what I mean? It's not where I grew up. So it's just the place where I live right now. My family's here, but I would not call it just home. It's not. It's just a different feeling. It's not that I don't belong, but it's just, I don't know. It's like it comes from the heart. Like, okay, I'm here, my family's here, um, but it's not where my roots are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I know I've been here for larger portion of my life, but there are still times where I just kind of like feel like something's missing. Like I don't fully connect sometimes. But so if this doesn't feel like home, I would like you to hand over your green card. I'll just take that.
Yeah.
I'll use it.
You're gonna have to talk to me about that.
Yeah.
I do a little more work for that.
Yeah. Oh damn. Well,
we're actually thinking about when we retire. Hopefully before we retire, we're actually thinking about moving back down there. Not necessarily the city, but somewhere around the coast.
that'd be nice.
Just just to be there.
I'd love to have a summer home.
Yeah.
We're moving on up. We've come a long ways. So I guess you've got all this experience, all these things you've learned using the power of hindsight. Is there anything that you would do differently? Anything that, I mean, obviously it's not good practice to dwell on things like that, but is there something like something you've always wished you had done? Like you could change?
Not really, man. We always been the kind of people that things happen for a reason. And then we were always jumping at, if you see an opportunity, we were always jumping at it. And, if it goes bad, it goes bad. If it goes well, it was meant to be. I feel like everything we done together and everything I done before we got together, has led us to this moment. I'm pretty happy. I have three. How many kids we have?
3. Shut up.
3 kids. I couldn't be more happy.
We have, I think probably what you'll want to hear is like, we have our times where we compare ourselves with like other people, like our friends here, a couple, and they've got a bigger house or a nicer car, or they go on vacation every year. Like they've got something more than we've got. Everybody does that. Everybody, everywhere. But sometimes then we stop and think, we're like, well, okay, we didn't get our first house until just how many years ago, and we've been together forever, and how long it took just to buy a house. Like there's those obstacles, and it's like, somebody who was born here and, both spouses were born here and had the social security numbers and all that, probably bought a house like really quick, like right out the gate. You go to college, you finish, you buy a house, you move on. How many houses have you owned now? Whereas like we couldn't buy a house. We spent years from apartment to apartment. How many moves have we done? We've been together almost 18 years. I think we've moved 13 or 14 times, because it'd be in an apartment, then the rent would go up and we'd have to move to another apartment because we couldn't get a house. We couldn't get approved. We would need a cosigner. Yeah, who's going to cosign on a house? Cosigning on a car is one thing, but a house. So there's things that like we had to do differently because of the circumstances we had. So that's kind of some of those things that like if we could have done it differently, maybe we'd be somewhere else now. But I think, like you said, everything, there's kind of a reason, and we've just taken every obstacle that's come. Work through it. That's all you can do. You can't sit back and wait. Like, I don't know, like some of our friends that haven't made it through, they just stopped at an obstacle, and we just didn't.
Yeah, you're both very very stubborn, strong-willed people. So that makes sense. That's a compliment. I mean that in a good way. Because so yeah, like some
I was
people
gonna say
just
this conversation got me pumped up.
I'm ready to change my life.
I'm not gonna let some stand in my way. Damn.
Yeah. I'm gonna get started tomorrow, for sure. I'm changing my life.
You're gonna make your own.
It'd be a busy
tomorrow?
Monday.
You're gonna make your own lunch tomorrow, Pedro?
Probably not. Anytime I move out of the house, and I think I've done that twice now. My diet drops down. I start consuming about maybe 1,000 calories a day. And it's usually just like white rice. And it's not good for my health. And we'll learn to cook someday. Just not this week. Someday. I don't know. We have different skills, okay, Edwin? All right.
Yeah.
I look to hunt. That's why they give you citizenship. You're probably talking to the ICE agent about like deer and the cuts of meat or whatever.
No.
Yeah, I love my diesel truck and freshly slaughtered animal.
No.
I'd show up and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm on a vegan diet," and be like, "That's crazy. You're not going back to the U.S., buddy."
Actually, I'll tell you something funny that I think I've told you before, but we'll go ahead and share here. Is that you say like he's probably talking to the agent, and they're like, okay, yeah, like they're happy with him. But actually, when we went to the consulate in Mexico, so we're in Ciudad Juarez, and I didn't go with him at first. I stayed in the hotel, and he went for his appointment. And then when he goes in, they contradicted my birth certificate. They didn't believe it was real. So they were going to like stop everything at there. But he's like, wait, no, my wife is here. Because the lady's like, well, the only way you can prove it is if she was here. And he's like, she's here. She's in the hotel. So she's like,
she's outside.
I was at the hotel. You had to come back and get me. You came back.
But you said she was outside?
Well, not yet. He came back and got me from the hotel, takes me back to the consulate, and I go in, and the guard stops me. And he's like, you can't come in. You don't have a pass. And I'm like, but I got to go with him. He's like, I don't care. You don't have a pass. So I'm thinking I'm at the U.S. consulate. I'm an American citizen. You should be like giving me sanctuary here. Like you should be bringing me in and sheltering me. Like
that was our mistake. That was our bad because we were at the U.S. consul, and she's a U.S. citizen, and the security guard, a Mexican dude, told her that she couldn't go in, and we just kind of like, okay, like we didn't even argue, which was bad from our side. And
so he went on in, and I waited outside, and I'm waiting, and then as he's in there, the guard turns to me and he's like, no, you need to wait over there with everybody else across the street. It's like, you can't stand out here inside the door. So I go across the street, and you can imagine what it looks like outside of an consulate. Everybody's begging for everything.
Ciudad Juarez.
In Ciudad Juarez.
Like the worst city in the whole country. And
I'm the only white person for as far as I can see. So I'm just standing
not
there.
Tan.
No, I'm just this white woman standing on the street by myself. I don't speak hardly anything in Spanish. And I guess he goes in, and then the lady's like, dude, where's your wife? And he's like, she's outside. She's like, oh my God, go get her right now. Like, run.
Yeah, dude.
So he came out to get me, and she gave him a pass to come out and get me.
No, well, I mean, she didn't even need a pass. She's a U.S. citizen. All she had to do was show her passport and walk right in. Like, there was no reason why the guard...
we didn't know. We were naive.
Well,
we had no idea.
But that's why I was like, after that, it made me angry, because those are the things like, why didn't we say anything? You go in there so afraid because you say the wrong thing, and they can just kick you out of the line and say, no, you're not coming back. And the whole thing just gets ruined. So you're so afraid to say anything, to do anything. You want to just follow the rules like to the letter.
Yeah.
And yes, sir, no, sir, and things like that.
You're so careful. I mean, we joked that it was like, okay, what if it's, there's rivalry between city and country people. So he's from the city. We always joke he's a city boy. And, what if the person that's approving the paperwork is from the country and doesn't like city people? And they just be like, oh, you're from there? I don't like people from there.
Yeah, because they have like all the info. Yeah.
The taxi driver.
And that's all it took. It didn't have to be what was on the paperwork. If they're just having a bad day, they can be like, denied, move on, try again in 6 months. So we went in at the mercy of how someone was going to feel that day.
Yeah. The taxi driver that took us from the consul to the hotel, he asked me where I was from. But I know better. When you're in those kind of cities like, Ciudad Juarez, Tijuana, you don't say you're from the city. It's just, everybody knows that. So I told him, I was like, I'm from Guanajuato. And he said, Okay, good, because we kill the guys from the city in this town. He said that to me in the taxi, dude. I'm like, I guess it's good that I'm not from the city.
Yeah, I kill those guys too.
He's like nudging me to like, shut up, don't say anything, don't talk.
I hate those
Jesus
city
Christ.
dudes. Yes.
So yeah, the whole system, everything, right down to the very last thing. Not welcoming, not friendly, not fun. You're scared to death through the whole thing. Everything, you're at the mercy of someone else. Because we knew that 10-year thing. If we walk in there and somebody didn't like him, boom, 10 years. We're done.
Yeah, and you have to go through so many people, to get different signatures, different tests, all that stuff. It's just, you're like old. Your blood pressure just goes to the roof, man. You're just like thinking the worst. This guy is not gonna like me, or I'm gonna say something wrong, or he's gonna think I'm lying, or and it shouldn't be that way.
Because they're just people. Like they're
yeah, but it's like they have so much control on what happens to you that you're just like willing to just do and say whatever they want you to say, which is it shouldn't be that way, but
that has like some effect on your psyche, like to hold that position and have that power. Chris, you know about the brain. You know about. I said like people that are in those positions that like can approve or deny applications. Like there's got to be some kind of what's it called? Like some mental effects of where you're like power drunk off the ability to control someone's life like that. Like an application slides on your desk and suddenly you have power.
And they are, because you can tell them. You can tell with the way they act, the way they talk to you. You can tell they are like they have so much power that they know it.
They're waiting on you to say just one wrong thing.
Treat you like shit, and it's sad.
So for all those people that say, "Oh, go and do it the right way," it can't be that hard. Yeah, I'd like to see you stick some of these people through that process.
So I always wanted to get tattoos, right? And I never had tattoos before I went to do that, because that was one of the things that was keeping me from it. Because when you get to the medical exam down there, they have like two or three different groups. Like if you have earrings, any kind of earring or any kind of jewelry, body jewelry, whatever they call it, over here. If you have tattoos, you go over here. If you're 100% nothing, you over here. So they have like 3 different lines for it, or 4, whatever. They divide them once you get to the medical facility, and you go to a different door. So you don't know what happened to the other guys. like what happened to the guys with the tattoos, or what happened to the guys that had nose piercings. I want to know. Did they make it?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out when I have to go.
We don't know. Oh yeah, when he goes. Well, hopefully your situation will be different. Hopefully, because with something with the DACA and the way things are changing, hopefully you might not have to go back. That's what I'm hoping. Because you were brought here as a child, it wasn't your choice, so you didn't commit a felony. So I think you might be able to do your stuff here. Hopefully, someday.
I mean, yeah, hopefully. It's still considered entry without inspection, and I was still undocumented for maybe like half a year as an adult.
But we petitioned for you before you were 18, so that should count for something.
Hopefully. I mean, hopefully the person who is looking at the application
is
having a good day.
We'll go with you.
Right?
We'll go with you, and we'll walk you through the whole thing.
But just send me back on my own. I don't want you guys holding that over my head. I don't want you being like, well, you're welcome. If it wasn't for us.
No. What I'm saying is like we didn't have anybody to guide us, dude, to help us, to guide us, to tell us what to do. And now that we went through, I mean, I wouldn't want you or Giselle to go through, I mean, of course I'm going with you for whatever. I mean, it's not like I'm going to help anything, but once I'm done there, at least I can tell you, okay, we gotta go here, or I mean, I'm pretty sure the process is still the same, but it's not like it pretty much is like we just went down there blind, blindfolded. Like we had no idea, like what to do, who to talk to, where to go. I mean, it's just crazy. But now that we went through, I mean, there's no reason why you should go through by yourself. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah.
It's kind of like when we left the lawyer with the hardship letter, the petition. It's kind of like she handed it to us with this like look on her face, like we're going off to war. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see it someday. Like, we don't know the unknown from this point on. Like, but because it was, like you said, we went down blind. We had no idea, nothing.
Because like right now, like if you told me like, hey, you need to go to Memphis, city I've never been, you need to go to Memphis and like go to this building and like do this, application process, I'd be like, all right, I'll go down there. Not a big deal. But you throw like Mexico in there, I'm like, I'm fucked.
Yeah, go to Ciudad Juarez. I mean, what's Ciudad Juarez have? What's their, what are they known for down there? A lot of people getting kidnapped. And
I think their generosity and their kind smiles.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
think that's what they're known for. That's their chief export.
Yeah. We didn't leave the hotel. We didn't do anything. It's one of the cities you don't go out and enjoy the nightlife or go have a drink or something while you're there.
yeah, but
Yeah.
we'll go with you.
And I think because you brought up your sister a little bit, but I think some of our friends also, if it was from a female standpoint, I think they have even more obstacles, because if you're talking like if we were opposite, if it was me at that point and I had children at home and they wanted me to go to Mexico and risk staying for 10 years, I've got children at home, like now you've got a whole nother obstacle. You're gonna like tear my family and my life apart. It's one thing because he's a man and like he could support himself down there and be able to send us money and support us here, but if you take the mom away, like it's what's he gonna do here with the kids? I guess a whole different aspect to that. So, I mean, yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. I need to get on the. I need to make some kids quick. I gotta get some little tykes here so I can be like, I need to get back home to the kids. Because what am I gonna say? I gotta get back home. My sister's cat's really cute, and sometimes I play with him. He's gonna really miss me.
No, but I think you have a little bit of fight that you were here as a kid, so you've lived the majority of your life here. You don't know anything else, and that you want to be able to have your citizenship so you can use that as a positive here to raise a family, so that you can go into a family with your citizenship, be able to have a job, be able to have a house.
Wait, if I like make that claim, do I then have to have a family? Because I'm not really looking for that.
Not have to, but I think you can use that as part of your like, not your hardship, but part of your reason why you think they should give you citizenship. Say, well, if I decide to have a family, I want to be able to support them, be able to get a good job, have a good house.
Plus, with the degree that you have, I think is considered, so they have like different levels of, depending on what you do for a living, your degree is considered like high priority or something, like,
it's a valuable degree here.
Yeah, so you could find that too, like, I have this degree, I can't really do what I do outside the U.S. or things like that. And
my whole thing is the snare that I've run through my head is being like, hey, listen, you got the wrong guy. Do I sound like I'm from Mexico? That's my go-to.
No.
You don't look like it at all either. No.
I'm like, listen here, buddy. I don't know. I think those are all the questions. What do you mean I don't look like it? I'm a Mexican. What do you mean by that? Those are the kind of microaggressions that I deal with on a daily basis, Tracy. I don't need that from you too.
Just, you could pass as Italian, I guess.
That.
I think they give more green cards out to Italians than they do Mexicans.
Listen, buddy. I don't know much about Italians without sounding like racist, I guess. So I'm not gonna make any jokes about that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's kind of pretty much all the questions I had. Chris, is there anything you'd like to add? Any like questions you have from your perspective? Because Chris here, his family, he's first generation Mexican, so his family has had their whole like experience with that side of the law.
I had no idea it was muted. First gen on one side because my dad was born in Mexico, but everybody else born in the United States. Been here for at least like 4 generations or 3.
His family actually went back to Mexico for his dad to be born.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty dumb.
We have an aunt. My mom's sister did that. She was born here, but they went back to Mexico to get it registered. And till this day, we call them Güera because
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything extra. I was just it was nice to listen. I kind of just wanted to be an observer on this episode, and I really appreciate you guys sharing your story. I think it's really important and very inspiring. And it's nice to hear a happy one too, because you read a lot of the stories you're talking about where people run into a really bad obstacle and they give up, or they get denied and they have to spend 10 to 15 years back in Mexico. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Man, if I had to spend 10 years over there, that'd be quite an adventure. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend you to go outside the city, probably. I don't know. Maybe you like the city. I don't think I'll go back to a big city anymore. It's just too much going on for my head anymore. Maybe I'm just old now, but you might have fun in the city. I don't know.
Oh, I'd go straight for the city.
Yeah.
I'm just worried with my accent. I'd get mistaken for an American, and then people would wouldn't get close to me for the wrong reasons. Then I'd have to be like, hey, listen, sorry to let you down. I'm not allowed back there.
And I'm not rich, right?
No, I don't have any money in my bank account. Anyone listening to me, I'm in the hole.
I cannot wire you $1 million if you abduct me.
Cannot wire you anything. No one. Nope,
my family isn't sending anything for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's all.
Practice your accent.
Practice the accent.
Your Mexican accent.
You can keep practicing your English too.
Maybe shave your head.
All right. That'll save me on haircuts. They'll be like, yeah, you see my haircut? I don't have money for a haircut. How am I going to wire you anything? But
no,
yeah.
Don't shave it. Because after I shaved mine for the first time, they never grew back. Don't do it.
Yeah, I think I always make fun of you, but I think that part of my life is coming. I think my hairline's like back here. Yeah. We had a good run.
I don't know. You always were.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, guys, for joining the call. And I'll let you know. This is the episode 5. Like I said, we're gonna record one more after this one, and then we're gonna start releasing them like every Wednesday. I think, like from now until like next couple of months.
Well, hey, and because I'm such a nerd with everything we did, if you ever need to see any of the paperwork, I have all of it still.
Ooh.
Every application I filled out, the hardship letter, all of it.
Actually, if you could send me like maybe like a picture, because you said it was like a fat stack, right? Of
yeah, it's like a stack.
It's like a book, like a little book.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could just send me a picture of that, we could throw it on the screen somewhere so people could see what 5 years of paperwork and thousands of dollars.
Well, that's not even all of it. I'm talking that stack is just the hardship letter.
Oh, that's just one letter.
That's just the
There's just one application.
It's called a petition. That was what we had to take to basically summarize our life and prove why they need to let him come home. Just
yeah,
that.
okay. If you can send a picture of that, like with like maybe a book next to it for reference, we'll throw that up on the screen. Chris's brother here edits these episodes, so Xander, I need you to work your magic. I'll send you the picture.
I think we paid the lawyer $500 for that petition, that stack of paper.
That's what I should have gotten into. I should have gotten into law.
It's not too late.
Just still have time.
I'm never going back to school. I'm sorry to let you all down. I don't have that Mexican work ethic. Well, I mean, I do, but I just rather do other things. There's other things that need me.
Yeah.
Not school. School doesn't need me. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to the interview with my brother and his wife, talking about their story about him obtaining citizenship.
Next week, we'll have an interview with a fellow DACA recipient, such as Pedro, to tell us a little bit about his journey coming to the United States. It involved him coming to the United States as a kid, only to go back to Mexico and then return to the U.S. when he was in his teens. So pretty interesting experience that I think a lot of you guys are going to want to hear and can learn a lot from, just from another perspective. So make sure to check us out next Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all podcast platforms.
And please remember to subscribe, rate us, share us with your friends if you feel like you enjoyed today's episode.
Thank you.